Hi, friends. It's Wednesday evening, 9 p.m. Pacific time. And that means we're 48 hours away from Johnny. In just 48 short, short hours, Rachel and I will be gazing upon the man himself, Johnny. JAWNY Johnny. Yes, just 48 hours from now, International Johnny Week will reach its crescendo. Remembering that, of course, Saturday and Sunday function as the denouement of International Johnny Week. Thank you, darling. I'm glad you're glad I'm streaming. Okay. So, the countdown clock can begin. I don't have a countdown clock currently set up for International Johnny Week. But I want to remind all the viewers that from 9 p.m., just to be safe, until 11 p.m., wherever you are in the world, you should be facing San Luis Obispo as part of your duties for International Johnny Week, okay? Because, as we all know, each year, on the third Monday of September, begins International Johnny Week. And the Friday of that International Johnny Week is the traditional high point, climax of International Johnny Week, because that Friday night show is considered the apocryphal show. And so, as International Johnny Week gathers steam into the future, this is the first annual International Johnny Week. What we're going to see is the world stop each year from 9 to 11 p.m. on Friday night of International Johnny Week and turn their eyes and attention towards whichever direction is the show that Johnny's playing that night. It will become traditional for Johnny to play a show the Friday night of International Johnny Week every year, no matter what else is going on in his life or his career or whatever. And people able to attend that Friday night show, that's the equivalent of them going to Mecca on a pilgrimage for Islam. Rachel and I are very fortunate. We both get to make that pilgrimage when it's comparatively easy, when he's not huge yet. And we get to go to the inaugural Friday night performance during International Johnny Week. So we're gonna take pictures, and later on in history, people are gonna cherish those pictures. They're gonna blow them, put them on their wall, and say, "This is real picture from the first ever International Johnny Week Friday show." It'll sell at auction for $500 billion. So Rachel and I will have our future assured, because we'll be able to auction our digital photos of Johnny from that Friday night concert for $500 billion, which is quite a lot of money if you think about it for digital photos. Should bring an analog camera and take film photos. That'd be kind of funny. That'd be kind of fun. I wonder where you even get film developed anymore, you know? You can't just take it to any old grocery store and get your film developed. Not a lot of old school film development places left. When I was a kid, every vacation, my dad would take tons of pictures. And every time we get back, he'd develop the pictures. And we'd pick them up from Save On and look at the pictures and stuff. But nowadays, not so much. Nowadays, people use digital cameras instead. Oh, I could just print out a picture of my picture. Not the same, people. It's not the same, okay? I mean, we all need to go back to the days of film. Thereby making it much, much more difficult for us to take pictures. Much, much more difficult and pointless. That's what I'm looking for in my future. A difficult and pointless future. So the question was asked not that long ago. Am I being shadow banned? I'm not getting notifications for you all of a sudden. It's possible, and I'll explain the reason why. YouTube recently opened up basically an amnesty program for people who have warnings on their account, existing and new, where you can take this class and get it wiped from your record. I haven't taken that thing yet. And so, but they may have also implemented a concurrent new policy that anybody who's got a warning gets shadow banned. So I need to do that because I've noticed a weird sudden change in reduced audience as well. And perhaps getting rid of that warning will help a lot, you know? And realistically, who knows how much damage that warning's been doing to my channel this whole time anyway. Who knows what YouTube's policies are about that. So I really should get on that and resolve that thing. Then maybe 10 minutes into a live stream on a Wednesday night, I won't have one person here and it'd be my wife. Anyway, I gotta go pee. So we're gonna actually bring you into the bathroom this time. We're just gonna point you that direction. Should be fine. I think I can trust you not to turn your head this way. So I got these weird, like, I guess, kidney pains. I'm not entirely sure what it is. Started happening a couple days ago. But it's evolving a lot right now, so I'm not too worried about it. It's like better than it was, for sure. But it kind of gets a little bit better and worse at times. I was hypothesizing it might be a urinary tract infection. But Eric, how would you contract a urinary tract infection? I don't know, playing with my dick with dirty hands, probably. There's nothing I'd want to give to Rachel, though, so I think we're going to avoid sexual intercourse until I got this figured out. I don't know if those things are contagious or what. So yeah, my pee's reasonably yellow. Pretty yellow. Does not appear to be cloudy at all. It doesn't hurt when I pee or anything. The other possibility, besides it being kidney pains, is that I strained some muscles from coughing too much. That's the other possibility. And or slept weird, because my back feels kind of tight and everything too, so. We'll just give it a couple days, let it continue to evolve, and see how that works. Rachel and I are currently beginning a B12 experiment. We're going to take 10 of these B12 pills a day for the next week or so. And the reason is because Delilah read an article about this lady whose neuropathy was so bad she was in a wheelchair. And for the same reason Rachel and I got it from up in nitrous. And by getting some B12 mega doses, injections and stuff, she recovered completely. So we're really going to try to see if maybe we can't cure our respective neuropathies with a very simple solution like B12. Like I said, I took 10 pills of it today. It's really hard to gauge initial returns on something like this, because I know from lots of experience that my neuropathy gets better and worse at different random times, seemingly unlinked to anything I can tell. "48 Hours to Johnny." No, it's not a film I'm working on. It was an accurate statement 11 minutes ago, assuming Johnny starts right on time. We will be seeing the man himself, live and in person, in 48 hours. We're very excited about it. We made dinner reservations for Friday evening already. I got them confirmed on my phone, so that's pretty exciting. We know where we're eating. We know where we're sleeping. We're sleeping in the Courier and Ives room. Yes, Johnny, the artist, the musical recording artist. Well, he's more than just a singer, but we're seeing him live in concert on Friday. We're very excited about it in a small venue in San Luis Obispo. We're concurrently having a nice little treat. Yeah, he's Eric's boyfriend. No, he's not my boyfriend. I have a wife. I am not sexually attracted to the man. I am just being okay with fanboying somebody I think is a legitimate, straight up genius. And you know what? When somebody's that much of a genius, it's really the only alternative to hating. So, anyway, we're also excited about the trip in general. We're staying at the Madonna Inn, which is always delightful, and we're staying in the Courier and Ives room. Now, I've never stayed in the Courier and Ives room, but I have seen pictures of some of it, and it looks fine. There were few rooms left when we booked the room, even which was months ago. Well, I suspect naturally that there's a lot of people in San Luis Obispo going to the JAWNY show. It's a 900-seat venue. We're driving from 4 hours away. Yes, Delilah does know of Johnny, but I'm much more into Johnny than Delilah is. So is Rachel. Well, we don't have any backstage pass. But I will admit, I've got some vague wishful thinking hopes. Like maybe he'll be eating at the same restaurant as us. That'd be nice, you know. Maybe he'd stay at the same hotel as us, but they probably just sleep on the tour bus, you know. The Madonna Inn is definitely the best place to stay in San Luis Obispo. I don't know if it's the nicest hotel in San Luis Obispo, but it's the best place to stay. So you know, it's unlikely, but a man can dream. Johnny did see on on Rachel's Instagram the picture of our Johnny pot roast. So I think that's pretty cool. Seems like Johnny's a lot more involved with Instagram than he is with YouTube. So it's unlikely he's gonna see any of my YouTube stuff like, hey, look at me. He did comment on a previous thing, a previous comment of Rachel's, in which she said, my husband and I are going to the San Luis Obispo show, and he said, hell yeah. So he did not comment on the pot roast pic. But anyway, it's more likely he's seen, well, we know he's seen the couple of things that Rachel's put on Instagram than he'd ever see anything on YouTube, because he doesn't seem to be very active on YouTube. Well, it's probably even older than that, Eliana Diaz. I'm not sure when they made it, but it's been around forever. And if you wanted to look up our room, if you type in Courier and Ives room, you can see the picture of the room we've gotten. We've stayed there before. We stayed at a room called Rock Bottom. So, you know, apparently the bathroom's cool at the Courier and Ives room. The bathroom in Rock Bottom was great. Rock Bottom was a cool room. The only downside of the Madonna Inn is it has Wi-Fi from the 90s. They probably put in their Wi-Fi in the 90s, Eliana Diaz. It's funny how young people always talk about the 90s as though that's as far back as history goes. So, anyway, Rachel and I are going to be enjoying ourselves on Friday night. Yeah, I don't know. It's like there's a lot of people your generation. My daughter was born in '98. You know, you're probably born earlier in the '90s than that, but who, for whom the '90s represents the golden age of their childhood. You know. So says the person born in the '90s. For me, it's like the golden decades were the '70s and '80s. Cause I don't really feel that way. Like, because I'm an ENTP, it probably has a lot to do with it. I don't feel like the world really came alive until the internet came around. For somebody who operates a lot naturally on the external metaphysical field, the internet was just what I needed, as that Cars song says. I got to get this telescope finished being put together. I got some cool pictures of the moon today using the night mode of my camera on the phone here. And the reason they were cool is because the moon just happened to be positioned between these two trees over there. And it was just like a sliver of a moon. Like a little scoop moon, you know. Like, pew, pew, pew. Just a little scooper, as they call it in astronomy. Oh, that's not what they call it in astronomy. Let me find a cigarette. I could just smoke one of these buds. Might as well. Oh. I'm surprisingly tired, even though I got a pretty good night's sleep last night. I slept a good, solid couple hours. It was wide and empty and also fairly boring. Those aren't skeeters. Those are crickets. I mean, the 70s were a time of recklessness, you know? They were a time of recklessness. The way people raise their kids, right? We were just pushed out in the street to do dangerous things with no protective gear on and no supervision. And, you know, people got hurt and stuff, but whatever. It seems like everybody was fine ultimately. However, it's like the other thing is the environment in school was very like Lord of the Flies. The environment and children unsupervised can be incredibly awful to one another. And even when supervised, we were permitted to be incredibly awful to one another. Some of the time, at least. So, you know, for me, my middle school and high school days were in the 80s and the 70s part of my childhood, I was still just a child. And I have only really happy memories and nothing really traumatic happened or whatever. I have some weird memories too, but middle school and high school, they were kind of horrible, brutal places. And while I wasn't necessarily the victim of a great deal of that brutality, just seeing it, having it around me, being party to some of it, it definitely left psychic wounds, you know? Probably accounts somewhat for my abject disdain for the school system. I could tell you the difference between my third grade and fourth grade. Here's SI conscious person. My third grade classroom was at the end of the front hall. That's the hall closest to the playgrounds at Hugo Reed Elementary School. It was at the east end of that front hall. The doors were facing south. My fourth grade class, in contrast, was at the east end of the west block of classrooms along that same row of classrooms, also facing the playgrounds, also facing south. But then when I went to fifth grade, then you're in the block of classrooms behind the third grade classroom. So I was in the equivalent classroom to my fourth grade classroom, but in the first block of classrooms on the east end for fifth grade. Then, when I was in my sixth grade class, I was on the very west end of that second row of classrooms where they basically did it third, fourth, fifth, sixth, right? I can remember each of my teachers, though not all of their names. I can remember events that occurred in each of those classes, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth grade, and distinguish between them. How was the pot roast? The pot roast is delicious. Rachel and I both had it multiple times a day. We made it out of a tri-tip with the fat left on, so it's very like fatty and greasy in a good way, you know. I don't remember my second grade teacher at all, or my first grade teacher, but I remember events from both first grade and kindergarten. I even remember an event from preschool or two. That's as far back as I go. It's preschool. Well, I mean, I know I remember an event that happened when I was 3 years old. I remember meeting Dave Porter and the Porters when we moved in to the Arcadia house. I seem to even have a memory or two from the Dwarty Road house. I may have been 3 then as well, I'm not sure. Maybe late 2. I don't have any memories before that. Of course, it may have something to do with the fact that when I was a blobber, I was in one of those round rolling things rolling down the driveway, and I guess it tipped forward and I cracked my head open. And you can still feel where my skull was cracked open as a baby. Maybe that explains a lot, Eric. I think it does. You can probably even see it a little bit. There's a bump right here. It's goes from like here to here. You can feel it easily. If you were to feel my forehead, you'd be like, what's wrong with your forehead? It's got this like mountain range in the middle of it. No, I'm not giving you the middle finger. I'm sorry. I should have used my pointer finger. That's my mistake. I didn't mean to give you the wrong impression. So yeah, the earliest memory I can remember is, I think it's a memory from Dwarty Road, which is this vague memory of like what the inside of that house looked like, kind of. And then probably my next earliest memory is maybe meeting Dave Porter. And then maybe my next earliest memory after that is I remember hitting Chad with a rock in the back of the VW bus. Yep. Chad was trying to sing over me, and I was trying to sing one Christmas song, and he was trying to sing a different one. And so I hit him in the head with a rock. He had to go to the hospital, I guess bitch has. And I don't regret it one bit. Okay? Because fuck that guy. I was trying to sing. Well, he was trying to sing over me, and I was trying to sing a different Christmas song. And it made me incredibly mad, and I hit him with this rock that we had in the back of the VW bus. In the head. I hit him in the head with it. Just picked it up and just like, bam. Try to sing over me, motherfucker. He deserved it. He totally deserved it. He was a shitty singer. Whereas I was a good singer. Okay? You didn't have one cute teacher? I don't remember particularly having a crush on teachers. I remember having a crush on this one girl who was like 1 or 2 grades older than me in elementary school who lived up the street from my grandma. I was very starry-eyed about her. But I don't think I ever even talked to her. She was this inaccessible, mature girl who was like a grade older than me or so. Another mature girl like that I had a crush on was my friend Chris Morrow's older sister. Her name was Kimberly. Not the same Kimberly though that I later got with. Totally different Kimberly. Other girls I had a crush on. There's this girl named Gigi Yount. I had a crush on her in high school. But she was way out of my league. She was dating like a football player. She was, I think, a cheerleader. I was a weirdo, you know. But she was kind of flirty with me in newspaper class. So I guess that's why I had a crush on her. I looked her up on Facebook like years later, and she was all brown and leathery from years of artificial tanning. She didn't like that? Seems like an appropriate response to the question. So yeah, Gigi Yount got all brown and leathery by her mid-30s or something because she did so much tanning. Isn't that terrible? It's like, oh, you used to be cute, but now you look like beef jerky. Beef jerky kind of a look? Turkey jerky would be fun. I had a crush also on Danielle LaRusso's girlfriend from Karate Kid, who was also in Adventures in Babysitting. When I was a teenager, I had a big crush on her. I forget what her name is at the moment, but she seemed like such a good girlfriend in Karate Kid. I thought, oh, I hope someday I can have a girlfriend like that. Who I guess a part of me. Even when the bad boys are bullying. Elizabeth Shue. I know Rachel's a long time had a huge crush on Tom Selleck. Ever since she saw him on Friends, she wanted to run her fingers through those luscious chest hair curls. Look, none of us care or disputing that we want teriyaki jerky. Yes, we all want teriyaki jerky. There's no doubting that fact. What we don't want is a woman's face to look like teriyaki jerky. That just seems like the outcome of unfortunate decisions in youth. Do we all want to eat teriyaki jerky? Yes. Should we want to look like teriyaki jerky? No. I've given up on CBS actually. One of the problems I bet Gigi has probably now is people keep coming up and trying to take a bite of her face thinking that she's beef jerky. Anyway. Or maybe not. Good old Gigi Yount. I remember where she lives. I went to her house one time to help her with some school stuff. My heart was all aflutter the whole time, but she was just using me to learn things. Just using me to learn things. Well, that's okay. Just imagine how horrible it would have been if I had gone out with Gigi Yount and married her, and then I would have been stuck with somebody who looked like beef jerky. Or maybe I would have stopped her from all the incessant tanning. I don't know. I would have just been like, okay, enough with the tanning already. You couldn't get any more brown. She was this white girl with blonde hair, blue eyes, blonde hair, white girl, cheerleader. Like, you don't need to look brown. Think of all the time Michael Jackson spent trying to look white. And all the time you spend trying to look brown. No, the grass is rarely greener. Maybe she's married to someone who likes beef jerky. I should also say, she was not the sharpest tool in the shed. Okay? She said a lot of really dumb things that if it had been somebody else, I would have laughed at them. But because I had a crush on her, it'd be like, oh, yeah, Totally. People want to look how they don't look? Huh. Is that why I want to look like a short, chubby black woman? That must explain it. That's why I'm having race reassignment surgery. Well, you just need to have race reassignment surgery. Because I look like some people who were blind. I look like a white person, but I was actually born a black person. So that's why I need to get race reassignment surgery. I'm also thinking about getting age reassignment surgery. I'd like to go from 52 to 25, just flip the numbers. So, considering that, I was born a 52-year-old man, but really, I was meant to be born a 25-year-old man. And being born at 52, boy, was my mother's vagina tired. By the time that birth was done, she was like, ay, 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 I'm so stretched out. They said I was the longest baby they'd ever seen, 6'5". So that's a pretty long baby. I was really coiled up like a snake inside my mom's uterus. It was tight fit in there. Type reassignment surgery. It was called a lobotomy. Fortunately, I'm kind of skinny. So it wasn't really that hard for me to fit out. I'm basically the same size as the baby in terms of width and depth. But in terms of length, it took a long time to come out. What function axis is it when you have the awkward scenario of not knowing how to be when someone's talking to you? That's an FE situation right there. Where is it slot-wise? I don't know. Could be any number of places. Consciously being aware of that suggests it's in possibly one of the more conscious slots, like 1 through 4 or 6, maybe. But, I'm one baby wide and one baby deep. Yes. That long man is one baby wide and one baby deep. The first thing that came out was my penis, and they thought it was the head of the baby at first. I wasn't breech, but I did come out penis first. I came out folded like this. Inspired by my Galaxy 5 Fold, I came out folded. So that was a bit of a problem for my mom. She just gritted her teeth and bared it, Yeah, I came out fully folded limbo style. And what do they call that study? That OBGYN baby delivering talk. They call that coming out limbo. You come out regular breech or limbo. I came out limbo. Imagine a lovely domesticated house cat giving birth to a giraffe. I hope it's a little tiny giraffe. Oh, that explains a lot, Boba Fett. That explains a lot. C-section babies are known statistically to be more likely to be from India. Are you also firstborn or only child? Oh, that explains a lot. Are you also a Virgo? Because that also explains a lot. So anyway, it turns out that Boba Fett is a Virgo only child C-section baby. And that's how we know everything about his personality from that. Those things. Those are the things that define a man's personality. Right. Especially if you were a penis first C-section baby. As a lot of C-section babies are. A lot of doctors pull the baby out by the penis. It's like, oh, what a convenient handle. Girls, they just pick them up like a six-pack. So that is standard operating procedure in C-sections. A lot of people have questioned the wisdom of it, but are you locked in a tower, Diamond? Is that the first thing he said? Wait a second. Diamond, are you actually Rapunzel? Do you feel like you're locked in a gilded cage? Is that how you feel? 'Cause I tell you, I feel like I'm locked in the Gilded Age. Yeah, the age of robber barons, stuff like that. In the pre-antitrust rulings. That Gilded Age, sure. You're not locked in a tower? Are you locked in a gilded cage? Diamond, I have a question for you. Do you know why the caged bird sings? I do. That's because it wants to celebrate the fact that it's in a cage. Of course. Why else would it sing? It loves being caged. Anyway, I feel like a beautiful little bird locked in a gilded cage by racism. What locked me in the cage? Racism, sexism, heterophobia, other things like that, of course. There's a lot of platypuses out there, and they're all keeping me down. I've been watching a lot. They have all these quotes on there about how challenging yourself and doing hard things reveals who you really are, and you know, a lot of SE shit. It makes me go, maybe I suck. But it also makes me go, stop projecting your frame biases. I mean, it doesn't matter how well I prepared. If you sent me out on a loan to build my own house, catch my own food, all that shit, my house would look super dumb, half-assed. Everybody else's house would look better. Had a dumb luck. Probably eat some shit I wasn't supposed to. Like bring a bow with me and be sitting 5 feet in front of me and I'd miss it. Like I'd probably be able to be hungry for like a half or 2 days before I was just like, oh, okay, that's it. I am out of here. I don't even like fish, let alone bugs. Rose hips. Ooh. I'm not even sure beef hips are food. Just wanted to thank you all for being real and having good intentions and not being axe murderers. Well, you're welcome for that last one, Poop Up Peregrines, because that was my second career choice. So I was this close. You take face to face over phone call. Phone calls are dreadful. What do you think about video conferences calls? What do you think about video conference calls? Are they terrible? Like, I find video conference calls a lot more agreeable than phone calls. Phone calls are fine sometimes, but if they go on too long, it's like, okay, all right, okay, okay, all right. You know. Yeah, Boba Fett's more into blunt objects. Poisoning's a girl way to murder, Boba Fett. God, don't you know? Could you be any more feminine? Only girls murder with poisoning. Boys murder with more violent means, like with cutting remarks. Oh, yeah? Same to you. Right back at you, bub. There's that. There's that as well. That's a good comeback. Or how about this one? All right, take a long walk off a short pier. That's a good comeback. Or, go fly a kite. That's a good comeback. Well, yeah, if it's a crime, it's murder. If it's murder, it's a crime. If it's a homicide that's not murder, then it's not necessarily a crime. Not all homicides are murders, but all murders are crimes. It's probably a lack of bandwidth on my end. Naturally, with just 48 hours until Johnny, I'm having to save up some bandwidth. Murder is a crime if you're talking about the verb. Well, my point is if it's a homicide, it's not a crime, it's not called murder. It might be called negligent homicide. It might just be called defensible homicide, like self defense. It might be other things, like just accidental death, suicide. Suicide's a form of homicide. You know why? It's just the person killing you is yourself. Murder is bad according to the Bad Good Determination Committee. I mean, the point is, murder is bad because it's unjustified homicide, right? It's unjustified willful homicide. Why is it bad? Because it's unjustified and unjustifiable. And it's a rights violation. I guess foremost the reason it's bad is because it's the maximal rights violation. The reason it's a rights violation is because it's unjustified and unjustifiable. Well, that's not acceptable. I mean, it might be acceptable by a due process to give somebody the death penalty, but it's never morally acceptable for you to just execute somebody because you think they're bad enough to deserve it. That's just murder. And the reason it's never morally acceptable is because under no circumstances should some matter like that be determined by your judgment alone. Right? You need a jury of 12 people to all agree this person is so irredeemable that they're not only guilty of the crime they are accused of, but that the jury recommends additionally that they be given the death penalty. All 12 people agreeing on this. There's a standard you can stand behind, right? That's robust. It's not just you making a decision for yourself in the absence of any procedural uniformity or anything like that. No, I wouldn't. Maybe in the heat of the moment. But not if I have a little time to think about it. I don't know what guy you're talking about to me. That one guy caught on TV. What do you think? What do you think of that? I don't know what one guy was caught on TV doing what and what happened to him. Well, Diamond, you don't know that. That's your prediction, but we can't make our decision on predicted outcomes. We have to make our decision on legitimacy grounds. We have to do the right thing, not the expedient thing. Like Danny Masterson got 30 years to life, right? He might come out and do it again. But the alternative to that possibility is to execute everybody who commits crimes we find abhorrent because there's a possibility they might do it again. Gary Plouch, I don't know anything about him. Is it a horrible story that's going to make me depressed? I don't want to. I don't want to get depressed. It's a story of that guy in Texas who came upon a worker with his kid. I mean, that's, like I said, maybe in the heat of the moment, right? Maybe in the heat of the moment. And I don't think in the heat of the moment that I would be blamed for doing that. If I came upon it in the act, you know, I don't think anybody would blame me for doing that. It's like, I'm going to end this rights violation right now. He's forfeit his rights. Rachel's listening to some tarot video or something. Something other than this. Makes me wonder if my talk about childhood crushes made her feel bad. I didn't mean to do that. I just, the topic came up or whatever. Howdy, fly guy. Have I ever mentioned what a fly guy you are? You're extremely fly. You're also fresh and fabulous. Oh, guys, I've been all around. How do you say it? La. I just walked under the thing. Where are you going, Eric? We're confused. Don't be confused, friends. I'm just going to the car real quick. Because the car possesses, fresh pack of cigarettes. That's what's inside the car. Ooh, it's getting chilly at night out here. I have to put my hood on. I would guess it's, I don't know. Let's see. going to say about 63 degrees. That's what I'm guessing the temperature is right now, 63 degrees. When we go inside, I will look at the temperature on the computer and I'll see how close my guess was. Was it 63 degrees? Oh my God. I nailed it. I got it exactly right. Or did that say 62? I couldn't quite see it. I don't have my glasses with me. Yeah, it's a lot warmer with my hood on. Oh. Nailed it. That's why they call me Eric the Human Thermometer. If you put me under your tongue or under your armpit or in your butthole, I can tell you what temperature you are. To the 10th of a degree. Just, ooh, you're a little hot. 99.6. I feel like I may have a poo in me before bed. I can feel it up there. You know, like maybe it kind of wants to come out, but I'm not sure. I want to encourage it. Go ahead. Just make your way down the poop chute into my butt. I'll take it from there. I can take it from there. I saw Bijou Phillips divorced and filed for divorce finally. Should have done that a long time ago, probably, but whatever. So how many of you think I can successfully poop before bed tonight? What do you think the spread on that is? Pooping is the favorite at minus 15. Minus 15 when? The others, of course. So, you know, that's how those things work, I guess, is I've never really done sports betting, but it's like, if you're at like minus 180, and you're the favorite, that means you got to bet 180 to get 100 back. If you're plus 180, if you bet 100, you win 180. I think that's how it works. I think. But I'm no expert on sports betting because, well, I always check those numbers to see who the favorite is and how big of a favorite they are. I don't actually do sports betting, so I don't know whether I'm right about my hypotheses. Is Danny Bonaducci dead? Or did he get like vindication because he was saying all this shit for a long time and then finally it came out that he was right or something like that? Danny Bonaducci. Age 64 years. Apparently still alive. Let's see if I can see anything about that thing I'm thinking. Maybe somebody else. Oh, you know what I think I'm thinking of? I think I'm thinking of one of the Coreys. Corey Feldman or Corey Haim. Later. Stop. No, I don't want that. Stop. Yeah. He's been outspoken about sexual abuse of children and teens in the entertainment industry, identifying himself as a victim of such abuse. Huh. Huh. Corey's Angels is a musical group that Feldman created. In 2016, he stated that he had created a 360 management development and production entity known as Corey's Angels to help girls who were kind of lost and needed help to find their way. Uh huh. Feldman holds belief in the paranormal. In 2017, he was charged with misdemeanor possession of marijuana, driving under suspension, and speeding after being pulled over in Mangham, Louisiana. His security guard and four members of his group were charged with drug crimes, including possession of Xanax. Huh. Feldman repeatedly has said that Michael Jackson has never acted inappropriately towards him. Huh. Well, interesting. He's had a lot of movies he's been in, all the way through 2021. Sounds like he's still a little bit of a troubled child. It's general admission. So basically, you try to get as close to the front as you can. It's a 900 occupancy venue. It sounds absolutely atrocious. I do not know what to think about it because I've not seen it, but it. I am scared to look at it. That's how bad it sounds. Like, do people pay money to go see him? Corey Haim is dead. Let me look up Corey Haim. Corey Haim. Haim. Yeah, he died in 2010. He was born the same year I was born. He died of pneumonia in 2010. Let's see. Was he like super drugged out or whatever? Hmm. He went bankrupt. Huh. Let's see how he died. Feldman said of Haim, he made so many attempts at suicide, he's OD'd so many times. I mean, I can't begin to tell you having him foaming at the mouth, coming downstairs and finding him that way and drooling and not being able to speak and me having to put charcoal down his throat so that he could breathe. Haim stated that at one point he did not leave his apartment for 3.5 years and had ballooned from 150 to 302 pounds. Hmm. He never married or had any children, though he was involved with Alyssa Milano from 87 to 90. Milano and her parents, together with his manager at the time, unsuccessfully tried to get Haim help for his addiction. Death. On March 10th, 2010, after Haim's mother phoned 911, paramedics took Haim from their home to Providence St. Joseph Medical Center in Burbank, where he was pronounced dead at 2:15 a.m. He was 38 years old. The 10-minute 911 call made by Haim's mother was leaked on the internet. Haim had been ill with flu-like symptoms for 2 days before his death. The doctor called on him and took his temperature, but did not suspect serious problems. Los Angeles police initially stated that Haim's death appeared to be an accidental overdose. Bottles containing Valium, Vicodin, Soma, haloperidol were retrieved. It emerged that Haim had used illegal aliases to procure over 553 prescription pills in the 32 days before his death, having doctor shopped 7 different physicians and used 7 pharmacies to obtain the supply. The pills included 195 Valium, 149 Vicodin, 194 Soma, and 15 Xanax. The toxicology report revealed no significant contributing factor, and he died of diffuse alveolar damage and pneumonia, together with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy and coronary arteriosclerosis. It was ruled a natural death. Well, interesting. He's the more tragic of the two. Until you see Corey Feldman perform, in which case it's clear to who is the more tragic of the two. He also dated Cesar Millan for a while. Actually, Ruben he dated Caesar Salad for a while. It was one of the stranger of the celebrity fetishes, but not the strangest. Yeah. Gwyneth Paltrow is known to make love to figgy pudding. Cesar Millan, interestingly, also dated Caesar Salad for a while. They were known as the two Caesars. And they got in a big fight one night at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, and that's why they broke up. Each of the two erroneously claiming that Caesar's Palace was named after them. The irony, of course, being that neither of them were right. They both insisted each of them was. I didn't know for sure why guy that Caesar salad was Mexican, but I had inferred that it likely was Mexican based on the fact that so much adobe is used in Caesar salad dressing. A little known fact about ancient Rome is Caesar himself actually preferred Cobb salad. Whereas after they broke up, Caesar Milan will no longer even look at a Caesar salad. He won't even get a garden salad hardly. That's how traumatizing that breakup was for him. When he realized that they were both wrong, and he called Caesar salad and tried to make up, but Caesar salad was already seeing somebody else, Caesar Romero, I believe it was. Coyotes love Caesar salad, but not as much as, say, brown bears. Brown bear, if you ever see a brown bear at a restaurant, look at what's on their table. Chances are they've ordered a Caesar salad almost 100% of the time. It was trippy. Yesterday, Rachel said to me, trouble comes in and meows like it's bedtime at 7:41. And I kind of thought she was joking, like being overly specific. And then tonight he came in and meowed, and she pushed her phone, showed it to me, and said, "See, it's 7:41. It's crazy." Of course, Rachel's not really ready to go to bed at 7:41, but FE tool means it's very easy to guilt you into things, and Trouble guilts her into going to bed before necessarily she wants to, and with his plaintive meows. Dogs mate with other dogs? Is that true? Huh. What do you know? I never thought about the question before, but I assumed they mated with people. I seem to sleep in bed with them a lot and everything. Yeah, Trouble's just ENFJing Rachel into doing what Trouble wants her to do. I mean, not that I have much better resistance than Rachel. I have a little better resistance than Rachel. Trouble's an expert at controlling us. You have to remember, I don't think Trouble's exactly what you would call a healthy ENFJ. He had a very traumatic childhood on the rough streets of Arcadia. Enforcing an arbitrary bedtime would require me to have a bedtime that I consistently go to bed at, which I don't. Rachel's just as happy to lie in bed and play on her phone and stuff. Usually we're watching something that's more like what I want to watch than what she wants to watch. Coy dogs are produced by crossing coyotes with dogs. Huh. I wonder if they really are coy. I was showing Rachel earlier some of the poses for my upcoming feature in Bun Hugger Magazine's 2024 calendar, featured in all 12 months. They had me do a few coy expressions like this, while posing in my bun huggers. I said, hey, don't sexualize this too much. Coyotes are like the cockroaches of mammals. That's a pretty harsh comparison. Oh, they're survivors. Fly guy points out the obvious here. Yeah, but you call them cockroaches. I guess so. You know, they said when they scouted me for Bun Hugger Magazine's 2024 calendar, they were looking for a man with small, round buns. And when they saw mine, they said, yes, those are the buns we want hugged. Coyotes will not form a pair bond with a dog like it would its own kind, which means only the mother will care for the resulting pups. I think that's normal for dogs, right? Do male dogs normally help with the rearing of the children? Maybe a little bit if they're allowed to stay in the mix. I think a lot of times they're not really allowed to stay in the mix. Well, there was a bidding war between Fruit of the Loom and Haynes naturally for my services. Haynes won the bidding war. They offered a single six-pack of underwear, whereas Fruit of the Loom only offered me a four-pack. You're cute as a pig is not a good compliment for humans. Well, I find pigs very cute, so you're so very thankful that I said that to you. You're cute as a rockfish. I remember I told my brother his girlfriend swam like a pig. He did not appreciate your compliment. I don't know how pigs swim. I guess like this with all four of their legs. Is that how she swam? Like her body on top of the water and both arms and both legs just going like this. I'm praising her buoyancy. God. Also, she's really famine resistant. I appreciate that. I think it's a good quality to have. Kicking erratically and squealing. That's how Fly Guy's brother's girlfriend swims. The funny thing is, she's like a super hot 25-year-old girl with like one of those impossible Barbie bodies, you know. But she swims like a pig. And Fly Guy's brother's like, look, Julia, I'm sorry, I can't take you swimming again, honey. Why not? I love swimming. There's a good joke in there, Boobo Peregrines. Whenever pigs turn gay, they really put the LGBT into the BLT. That's great stuff, Poopa Peregrine. You got a wonder point for that. Is it Wednesday? It is Wednesday. It's still Wednesday. Wonder point values are double. Remember, it matters if it's Wednesday here, not wherever you are. Okay. It's Wednesday here, therefore you get 2 wonder points, not just one, for your great LGBT BLT joke. Mwah! That was a real wonderful piece of work. I'm not nice, Boopa Peregrines. I'm honest. That's a great joke. Whenever anybody says, I'm not nice, I'm honest, usually it means they're a dick. But I'm not that much of a dick. I seem to have outgrown a lot of my dickishness. Until somebody comes at me, then it's like, fuck you! I dumbly responded to a pedantic comment today. People like to leave comments like this on my typing sessions. Clearly, you don't know what you're doing. It's very evident this person is meow, 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 meow. Normally, I don't respond to those kind of things. I just heard them. Today, I dumbly responded to it. I see I got a response to my response. It's like, why did I do that? Why? Why am I doing that? So it doesn't look like we're going to have amphetamines for the JAWNY show. But weirdly, I don't really feel like I need them necessarily. I was hoping to get Vyvanse before the show, but I had previously resigned myself to not getting it again until October 4th, which is where our original doctor's appointment was supposed to be. So, I'm okay with it if we don't get it tomorrow or the next day. It's conceivable we could get a text from the pharmacy on Friday before we leave, because it's only 3 hours and 51 minutes from here to San Luis Obispo, and so we won't be able to leave before noon. Because I'm sure check-in's at 4. Usually is. Curio knives are furrier than chives. That's something I've always said for a long time now. I've been saying it every day. Finally, I get to find out if it's true. First, I'm going to feel some chives, see how furry they are. Then I'm going to feel the room we go to and see how furry it is. And I'll be able to resolve this question once and for all. I mean, it's not possible to rush it because they don't have it, and they've ordered it, but the it's it's a weird month because they are just switching to um, generic. They're just switching to generic, or they're just introducing generic. They'll still have the name brand, obviously. The pharmacy says they've ordered both generic and name brand. They can't get either. There's no estimated date when it's going to be there. It's not like they're dragging their feet. This problem, yeah, it's a supply issue. It's an availability issue. And, we went to the Rite Aid. They have it, but the lady said, but we're not going to give it to you. We have to save that for our existing customers who are on it. I'm like, well, can't you order more for them when it's their turn? She's like, well, we don't know if we're going to be able to get more. I just had to say, well, fair enough. So, it's not just me who can't get this drug. Lots of people can't get any of these drugs. Yeah, so real. Oh, God. Chewable tablets? I'm surprised they can do chewable tablets with that because it needs to be digested through the digestive system. It can't be absorbed through your membranes. Or you can't boof it. You can't melt it in your mouth. You can't snort it. Won't do anything. Can't smoke it. Sure. Boo Peregrines of Boba Fett, I could not feel you anymore. I know that oh so well. Oh so very well. So I think I'll take a gabapentin now. Just one of them. These things tend to make me quite sleepy. They don't seem to knock Rachel out for shit, but they knock me out pretty good. No, but with that, it doesn't work with Vyvanse. It works with Adderall. It works with every other amphetamine out there, but not with Vyvanse. Vyvanse has to be processed through the liver. They made it specifically like that with this lysine protein attached to it, so to make it not very abusable. For some reason, they don't want people to abuse drugs. It's like, well, how else do you make them fun? I don't know why they have a chewable tablet for Vyvanse. You still have to swallow all the substance of it and get in your stomach to get it into your system. I think I'll always remember your poison control story, Bufoperegrines. I'm confident I will always remember it. That's quite a cocktail party story. That's like, this one time at Barcom. Drug makers have begun shipping copycat versions of Takeda Pharmaceuticals drug Vyvanse, rated August 31st, 2023. I think it's hilarious. Everything's a Yakuza op, Boba Fett. Everything. So Takeda Pharmaceuticals down because their proprietary Mia on Vyvanse ran out. That makes sense. Let's see what's going on in the world of Google News. The U.S. will allow nearly 500,000 Venezuelan migrants to work legally. Steve Martin Short's Las Vegas shows canceled due to COVID. What? I see Jimmy Kimmel came down with COVID. Huh. Last Wednesday, Steve Martin took to social media to announce that his and Martin Short's You Won't Believe What They Look Like Today show, which was scheduled for Friday and Saturday, has been postponed due to COVID. We're sorry for any inconvenience, but we are moving to mid-December, where your tickets will be honored with an added date moving tax of $9,000. That's hilarious, dude. That's hilarious. Steve Martin's funny. I give Steve Martin a wonder point for that. You can get high on the lemonade of Panera Bread? Oh, I wish I had a Panera near me. I am so proud of myself for getting the temperature exactly right just by feeling it with my body. Hey Rachel, can you turn the crock pot off?
Yeah, sure.
The part says cooked plenty. I will eat it. What, the lemonade has a lot of caffeine in it?
What?
I'm talking to the chat.
Uh-oh.
Caffeine's not really my drug, though. I like fun drugs. Yeah, caffeine affects me a little bit. I can feel the effects of it a little bit, but it's not like it. It's not like an amphetamine. It doesn't get you wired. It just makes you kind of jittery. Kind of like the jitterbug. A dance made popular by people who had drank too much coffee. Who had drunk too much coffee. I am so sorry for that. I conjugated the verb wrong, and I deserve 100,000 hours of shaming. Which is quite a bit of sorrow. Fly Guy only drinks tea without caffeine. I'm learning the market right now. The supermarket in town. I'm learning where the meows are, where the mews are, everything. I'll perform a tea ceremony for you right now, Listen's mom. And transubstantiate this bond right to you. By the powers vested in me as Archpastor of the Yaylorian Church and as Archpastor of God's Big Heaven Church, and by the fiery map clap gas flames of Yaylor's truth, do I hereby transubstantiate this bond from my lungs to your brain, Winston's mom. Yeah, being on speed's beautiful. I agree. Being on speed is a beautiful thing. I wasn't transconfigured. That was transubstantiated. I haven't transconfigured any bong rips yet. That's a much more complicated process. Sure. Transubstantiating them, easy enough. Transconfiguring them, circumnavigating them, also difficult. Engaging in circumlocution while talking about them, medium, somewhere in the middle. Circumlocution or poontang location, which one wins? Spiritually, the smoke from each of our cigarettes touches in the spiritual realm. And there's a communication between our respective lungs accordingly. Your lungs are saying, why can't I have Marlboro Red? And my lungs are saying, ha ha, Buford Peregrines is smoking the wrong cigarette. Do our prayers mean more? I don't pray for other people. I pray, thank you, forgive me, I'm sorry, I appreciate everything, that kind of stuff. Sometimes I'll say, I love you to God. I was told the prayers should be like, I love you, I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you.
What about the whole, hi, God, it's me, Margot. What is it?
Hello, God. God, are you there, God? It's me, Margaret.
Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't generally begin with questions like that. Are you there, God? You can generally assume he is there.
Yeah.
And what with his omnipresence and so forth.
Yeah. I would think so, right?
Yeah, he's there. Two people smoking at the same time, remotely communicating with one another, is one form of indirect kiss. Crickets outside are so loud that even in this well soundproof house, I can hear them inside. Well, but you're not smoking weed. So if somebody were to say something, just be like, I'm rolling my own cigarette, mind your own fucking business. Get the fuck out of here. Those are the words you're looking for, Bufo Peregrines. You know, each of your hands, Bufo Peregrines, has a middle finger on it. One important thing to do in life is to learn to use those middle fingers. Because it's like, it wouldn't even matter if you confessed to a crime. They'd have to find the weed and bring it and produce it as evidence in court. Instead, they find rolling papers and tobacco. You don't even have any weed. They, I mean, even if you did confess to it, then you still wouldn't be able to do anything because you're not actually guilty of it. Well, weed is not illegal here. So I don't really worry about it. Well, like Rachel is constantly smoking joints in the car. And me too. After I'm done with my Rachel with her FE tool. When I light a cigarette, she wants to light something too, so she'll light a joint. But then I'll finish my cigarette before she's done with the joint, and then I'll help her with the joint after I smoke my cigarette. That's just standard operating procedure for driving around. When we have to go to town, I'll be like, okay, well, let me roll a few joints. Is 3 joints enough to get it to town and back? 4 joints? 5 maybe? What do you think? That's how just entirely not anything it is for us. We don't even think about it. We've got a thing in the middle of our car that's so full of roaches, we can't put any more roaches in it because it won't close already. It's so full of roaches it won't close. So we definitely can't squeeze any more of them. People won't break your middle finger. The key thing about middle fingers is knowing the correct instance to use them. You can't middle finger when you're wrong, but you should always middle finger when you're right. Almost always. So the key thing is, ideally, take some time to determine whether this is one of those middle fingery kind of situations or not. You've already taken the time to think about what would happen if someone saw you smoking a cigarette on your porch and thought it was weed. Well, then you have plenty of time to think about how you will respond when somebody comes up and accuses you falsely of smoking weed for some reason, even though it clearly doesn't smell like weed. That's when you know. You simply say, these are cigarettes. If they say anything else besides, oh, my bad, then you say, again, these are cigarettes. So I don't know what else to tell you, motherfucker. I have rolled them with my fingers. Stop sexually harassing me. That always works well. So I'm going to say at the pharmacy when they don't have my Vyvanse next time. You're just sexually harassing me. You keep looking at my bun huggers. Well, sir, you came in with no pants on. I have pants on, my bun huggers. You're getting a rare sneak peek of the 2024 Bun Huggers magazine calendar. A lot of times you don't even have to use any middle finger. Like I remember this one time I was on this college campus, but I was working as the coach for a middle school and high school debate tournament, right? And I was smoking outside on the campus, and this guy came up to me and said, "I'm sorry, you can't smoke here. This is a tournament for middle school and high school students." And I said, "Well, that sign tells me I can't smoke within 20 feet of the entrances." And he looked to see how far away I was standing. For a second, it crossed his mind to say I'm less than 20 feet away. But of course, this was a debate tournament, so this guy's not an idiot. He goes, "Fair enough." I didn't need to use my middle finger. I just pointed out a fact, right? If then he had persisted, yeah, but yeah, I would have said, take it up with a sign. Hey, you shouldn't smack around the children. They're all in rounds, for fuck's sake. It's like all the kids were in rounds. I didn't have to judge around that round for some reason. I was just standing outside where, like, not that far from where my kids were going to come out of their room smoking a cigarette. It's like, at least I'd go to the car or kind of further away to smoke my weed. I'd also smoke joints and stuff, but I'd kind of go further away for that. I wouldn't just stand right out there in the middle of the fucking quad smoking a joint with like kids coming out of the debate lounge. Just smoke around the children. Why not? Who cares? Well, that's just the sort of thing that I think. Things like, why not? And who cares? And fuck y'all. And don't be such a bummer. Also, you can suck my butt. These are things I think about things. Important things. Important thoughts. Oh, it's 11 p.m. already. I want the night to be more quiet. So I still have this little bit of this pain, but it's funny when I'm standing up and yeah, there it is a little bit. but it's better than it was before. A little worrisome, but I guess since it's getting better, you don't really worry about it too much. Might be muscles, strained muscles. Might be kidney pain. If it is kidney pain, I don't know what the cause of that would be, but it could be like a urinary tract infection. It's because I'm always putting dead fish up my penis. And a lot of them, I thought fresh. I don't really have a good explanation for how to get a urinary tract infection, but Rachel doesn't have one. Men don't usually get them, I don't think. But I don't have any other symptoms of a urinary tract infection. It doesn't hurt when I pee. My pee's not cloudy. My pee's not extra yellow. So it's pretty speculative to say that I was worried about having a urinary tract infection. You give people a chance to accept your correctness. If they refuse to accept your correctness and continue trying to give you problems, that's when you use your middle finger. Here's another one. Another little scorpion. Right in the middle of the floor. I'm glad they're so small. But I wish they would just stay outside. Quite sure how they get in here. But I'd prefer they not get in here, ideally, if it were up to me. See if you can see it. Let me get a mirror to meow it with. Now, looks like there's the tail. Yeah, there's the stinging part over here, separated from the rest of the scorpion. Come on. We get tweezers. Tweezers and my glasses. I'm gonna get it. Don't worry. I'll find it in the camera frame. It's right there. So. There it is. Here's the scorpion in all of its resplendent glory. Just keep the light on it, Eric. Jeez. Having some real problems here. There. That's better. Now, using the tweezers, I'm going to show you his tail with his stinging part right there. There's another little piece. Looks like he might have got stepped on. Good thing we wear shoes. God dang, we wear shoes. Well, he's dead and flat now. So, I don't plan on eating it. Boba Fett. That's why I use tweezers to pick up its stinging part. This is the stinging part. I'm gonna go put that in the trash. I mean in the toilet. I'm gonna flush it down the toilet. And I get the other part and put that in the trash. This part. I mean put it in the toilet as well. And I just flush it down the toilet. There. Now there's no more scorpion on the floor. Next, we just gotta find that dead lizard. There was a lizard in the house last night. It's a real accomplished lizard because it has seemed to avoid the cats for all night last night and all day today. But I think they got it eventually because they no longer seem to be going after it. What kind of scorpion do you think that one is? I don't know. We've seen many scorpions, maybe half a dozen scorpions since we've been here. Here, come into the bathroom up there. It's fine. You can come right here. Sit right next to me. It's going to be just fine. We're going to keep your eyes safe from any obscenities. And we're not going to befoul your eyes with any nudities. Medium-sized scorpion. These are small scorpions around here. I don't know what kind they are, but every single one we've seen is like no bigger than this big. Well, it does sound like our scorpion, although we've never seen one as big as 3 inches. That just caused localized swelling and redness. That's not so bad. I didn't even step on it on purpose, you know. I just, it looked stepped on. So I'm guessing either me or Rachel stepped on it by accident, you know. If we had seen it walking around and it had not been stepped on, I definitely would have killed it. We saw a live one here in the bathroom the other night. I smooshed it with my shoe and then flushed it down the toilet or threw it in the trash. Not sure which. What do I look like? An expert in disposing things? I had a salad tonight. That's good to help me poop. I had a big poop earlier today, but I can't help but feel that there's deeply lodged somewhere in my body a poop waiting for its day to come. Waiting to be queen for a day. All right. Don't worry. I'm still protecting your eyes from obscenity. I just had to pee again because I've been drinking a lot of liquids. Predicated on the notion that maybe my kidneys are hurting. The lizards tell you not to be afraid. Rachel's very afraid of the lizards. So. Rachel's not a lizard fan. I'm familiar with the notion of squatting as the preferable way to poo. But That sounds like savages hocus pocus to me. Only savages believe in that hocus pocus. I think they're right. I think the savages are right about that one. Actually. I could be it. I don't know what that sound was over there, but it sounded like a bird or. Let's look around and see if we see anything. Do you spot anything? I don't spot anything either. Let's walk over here and look down the old hill. See if we spot anything down the hill. You never know when tonight's gonna be the night that you see a Sasquatch. Still no luck on the Sasquatch. There's a kitty. I see a kitty right there. Do you see it? It's a wild kitty. It's either a wild kitty or a domesticated kitty. I have trouble telling them apart. You be the judge. I don't want to be the judge. Why not? Because I'm the defendant. You're supposed to be the judge. How about I be the defendant? Okay, that's a fair deal. You be the defendant, I'll be the judge. All right. Well, fewer now than 48 hours. In fact, fewer than 46 hours, assuming Johnny starts on time, before we see the man, the myth, the most singular talent to hit the music scene since Eminem himself, Johnny. Are you talking about scorpions, Boba Fett? There are docile scorpions that look pretty and make great pets. Well, you got curious definitions of docile, pretty, and great. I want to pickle a pack of porcupines, just to say you pickled a prickle. Right. I'll prickle the porcupines. Rachel and I were talking earlier about how, we're watching Alone, and the bears will eat lots of different things, right? But who won't the bears mess with? Because of their sensitive noses. Who the bears definitely not going to mess with? Skunks. Even people don't bother killing and trying to eat skunks. Nobody does. Why? Because they have the ultimate defense mechanism. Being Stinky. Is Bufo's B cut off for everyone? No, just for you, Karma Stone. Favorite Johnny song? That's a real tough one. I go through phases where I like certain ones a lot. You know, I'm gonna answer instead with what I think is probably the best Johnny song, which is called Wide Open or Wide Eyed. Wide Eyed, I think. Canned cat food is legit. My cats don't seem to like wet food. We don't even bother giving it to them anymore. We just give them dry food. I don't know. We end up with a lot of leftover wet food if we give them wet food. Plus, Strauss's second law states it is impossible to open wide eyed. I think it's called, yeah. I think it's called wide eyed. It's impossible to open a can of cat food without getting at least one drop of cat food juice on your hand. That's known as Strauss's second law of cats. So this is the problem with canned cat food. Because as you know, if you've ever opened a can of cat food, when you get a drop of cat food juice on your hand, it's you better wash your hands for 5 minutes. Just one drop of cat food juice is all it takes to make your whole body stink like cat food all day long. No, Rubenar. You must not lick it off. Otherwise, your breath will smell like cat food all day long. So, this is one of the problems. The only solution I can come up with, because it is universally true that it is impossible to open a can of cat food. It doesn't matter how you have to open it, whether it's with a can opener or whether it's one of those tab ones, without getting at least one drop of cat food juice on your hand. The only reasonable solution to envision is one where you wear protective gear before opening cat food. Well, it doesn't bother you that much, Rubenar. But think about the people you're talking to who are constantly confused and trying to pet your head. Opening tuna is even worse, but it's better to get tuna juice on your hand than it is to get cat food juice on your hand. I'd rather soak my hands in tuna juice than get even 2 drops of cat food juice on my hands. Now, my junk, that's a different question. I'll often soak my junk in cat food juice. I find it keeps my junk supple. It's a real supple kind of. Yeah, I put my junk in cat mode. Which is to say, it sleeps a lot. It meows sometimes. You know, it kills a lot of lizards. Normal things that a man's penis should do. Ruben is a witch? Oh my god, I didn't know. So, do you dress up as a regular person for Halloween? Rachel and I are both going to be cats for Halloween. And I'm going to be a very manly cat, you know? Meow. Purr. But I'll occasionally trouble, you be nice. Hey, trouble. I see what you are doing, Mr. Man. And I do not like it. No, Trouble's trying to bully his sister. Same thing he always does. He wants to run her out of the room if he can. Oh, yes. Daddy knows your brother is a dick. Daddy knows. I'm looking at you, Trouble. You're looking at Capio, but I'm looking at you. Maybe you should look at me looking at you and know you're in trouble if you do that. Oh, well, I think probably 50% of cat owners in the country call their male cat Mr. Man at some point. Trouble is Trouble. He's Bubbles. He's Squire Bubblingtons. He's Senior Mr. Man Kitty. Oh, I do worry about it, Bufo Peregrines. I feel safe here at talking with famous people that not everybody's getting all hentai about my feet, you know. But I think in the coming months, as I increase my modesty, because it's one of my New Year's resolutions for next year. I want to get a head start on it. Well, first he wants to follow you to bread. But then when I don't go to bread, he wants to come out here and supervise my staying awake. Dribble has many, many names. Bubs. No, I haven't found my wiki feed page yet. But, you know, well, when you grew up with model-like feet like me, getting older is a little harder. You know, I don't worry about my face. My face was never very pretty. So it gets a little wrinkly, who cares? But these gems made Buster Brown into a multi-million-dollar company. They never quite got to $1 billion. These feet were featured in so many Buster Brown ads. And why? Because everybody said when I was a kid, oh my God, those are the most beautiful feet I've ever seen. And now, they're not that beautiful anymore. They've aged. Like a woman on local news, my feet have moved from weather girl to anchor. Rum Rum Tugger is a curious cat that aged like that teacher. Oh, Mr. Quick Age. Mr. Old Fast Quick Age. Teacher of children. Age is beauty too. Okay, good. Glad to know that. Does that mean I can stop Botoxing my toes now? Because my toes, I used to be complimented all the time by how plump my toes were. I haven't received those compliments in a while, so now I want to inject Botox into my toes, and I've been doing that. I haven't been telling you about it, Rachel. You know how sometimes I disappear for a few hours and say, I gotta run a quick errand? I'm going to Fresno to get Botox injected into my toes. That's the truth. I can't lie to you about it any longer. You may have noticed the additional plumpageness I have in my toes. I mean, I couldn't help but notice you looking at them during sex last time we were having sex. So, whether you want to admit it or not, you like me better with plumper toes. Of course, I continue going to my regular lip Botox appointments. These these lips right here are lips that have been injected with a shit ton of Botox already. But my lips before this were so thin, you had to measure them in micrometers, which are smaller than millimeters. It's 1/1000th of a meter. Thanks to Botox, I now just have regularly small lips rather than impossibly small lips, which I had before. I'm also thinking about getting my eyeballs injected with Botox because they're a little flat, but I haven't really made the decision yet. I want my eyeballs to be a little bit more pouty. Rachel and I saw a girl with some crazy, compelling eyes working at the pizza place in Mariposa. She had these like brilliant, kind of grayish blue beta quadra eyes. And she pretty clearly had any polar. She answered Rachel's questions that Rachel asked of her with one word answers like yes. She'd look to Rachel asked a question like, oh, did you win him out? Yes. Rachel was trying to be sociable, you know. But that girl was not a talker. She did not want to play Effie at all, which I appreciate in general. I don't want to engage with the person who's taking the order or whatever unnecessarily long. You know, it depends on the type of the person you're dealing with, as to whether they want to FE or not. ISTPs, and I suspect that girl do not want to FE very much. They're not that into it. There's no pics, obviously. She was this punky looking girl with short dyed hair. She had a couple piercings. I'm planning on getting both of my elbows pierced. I figure currently my arms have too much ability to do this. I need to restrict that some with some elbow piercings. I have too many shoes. I have too many shoes sounds like the beginning of a joke, like a stand up comedy joke. I have too many shoes. I mean, when I look in my closet, I'm like, why are there so many shoes? I only have 2 feet. It sounds like the kind like a stand-up comedy routine that would be made up for a commercial as a pretend stand-up comedy routine. For example, in California, there's this public service announcement that uses that format. It pretends like the guy talking is a stand-up comedian, and his routine is, I mean, I put my seatbelt on every time in the car. It's the only time way I gotta make my car stop beeping. It's like some canned laughter or whatever. It's horrible. Well, anyway, I have too many shoes. Sounds like the same sort of thing. The start to a comedy routine in a commercial is just serving as to represent a comedy routine, not actually be one, you know? Anywho, yeah, I have too many shoes and boy are my arms tired. That's a pretty good joke. After I get my elbows and knees pierced, I'll probably do my hips after that and then my shoulders. Then I'll be like this. But of course, all that comes after my important upcoming racial reassignment surgery. I haven't decided exactly which race I want to be reassigned to. If I were to be reassigned to Japanese, they'd have to chop my legs off and then reassign attach them so I'd be the right height. It'd be a lot of work. If I went Canadian, it would be a very short operation, you know. I'm sure it's not worth it. Rubinar. Like, the thing is, the first question you gotta ask is, am I making the kind of statement that needs to be justified or not? And if not, why not? What kind of statement is it? What am I doing communicating? And if yes, then is this statement justified? The problem is most people want to float around in a gray area, you know? They want to say some things are justified only by their intuition, other things are justified by cherry-picked data, etc., you know? And people don't do the top level work they need to do to that really should be done with everything they say, right? Like, here's what I'm saying, you should, here's how I'm using it definitionally, here's how to operationalize that usage so that you can use it, test things accordingly. Here's the broader claim I'm making. Here's how everything fits into everything else. You know, it needs to, you got to do all that stuff. Or else you're just whistling Dixie. That's me just whistling Dixie. As you can tell, when I just whistle Dixie, I just whistle Dixie. I don't attempt to do anything else. When other people attempt to do something other than whistling Dixie, they often find themselves just whistling Dixie. When I'm just whistling Dixie, it's because I'm legitimately just whistling Dixie. That's my imitation of the wind. Does it make you feel like you're on a cold, windy day? doesn't it? It does. It makes you feel like you're on a cold, windy day. Cold, windy days, you know what they make me want to do? I know, it's Goldilocks and the Three Birds. Um, what I want to do on a cold, windy day? Get into bed. That's what I want to do. Or bride. Baldur's Gate. I might want to play a game. Who knows? It's not like I'm really doing anything else at the moment, but I don't know if I need more ways to be unproductive, you know? I'm a lonely robot at the South Pole of your planet, girl. That sounds like a good lyric to a song. Just take up heroin. Don't worry, it'll be just for streaming. It'll be well under control. Get nerveless? Am I right? Am I right? I don't know what nerveless is. Baldur's Gate sounds like the sort of game I'd like to play. I know the reference. It's a Dungeons and Dragons reference. So, oh, you remove all your nerves and put them in a blender. Oh, well, that makes sense. Then do you drink your blended nerves? Starfield's 2 strategy. I want Swords and Dragons and Magic Spells. Okay, well, I guess it's telling me right now that it's time for bread. What is it? Everything. The sky, the moon, the stars, my body, gabapentin kicking in. Trouble? You stop staring down your sister. Baldur's Gate is amazing but not user friendly. Probably too much for a non gamer. I mean, is it an RPG? Because, I know how to play RPGs a little bit. Does it have an easy mode or something? Alright, anyway, good night, everybody. Love you all. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese, and don't forget to play plenty of Baldur's Gate. A top-down D&D turn-based thing. It sounds good. I like it. I like that idea. All right. Goodbye.